Islam, Islam, Islamism. Bismillah, ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. First and foremost, I'd like to rise to my highest of heights and give all perfect praise to our Father God Allah, acknowledging our ancestors, known and unknown, recognizing and naming all true and divine prophets, Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, Confucius, and the last prophet in these days and times, our illustrious Hebrew prophet, noble Jew Ali, in his first, second, and third form. I would like to remain standing and extend those honors to our National Grand Sheikh, Joel Bratton Bey, all national officials at headquarters in Baltimore, Maryland, all sheiks, sheikesses, deputy sheiks, and deputy sheikesses, and all of our friends, visitors, guests, citizens, students, members. I greet children. I greet everyone with Islam. Today's date, for the record, is March 28th, 2021, according to the Gregorian calendar. And as always, we open with paying homage to our Mother, Father, God, Allah. So can I please have everyone who is able to face towards the east, heels together, toes apart, separated at a 45-degree angle, upper arms parallel to the floor, forearms perpendicular, 5 fingers erect and together on the left, and 2 fingers erect and together on the right. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation, by night and by day, through his holy prophet, Drew Ali. Ameen. And we want to thank you. We want to welcome you all to our National Town Hall Educational Forum call, being brought to you by the Moorish Science Temple, the Divine and National Movement of North America Incorporated, number 13, the Moorish American National Republic. Under the guidance and direction of our National Grand Sheikh, Joel Bratton Bey, I am the moderator for this evening's call. I am Brother Cornelius Sanders Bey, calling out of Lake County, Florida Republic, and I'll be going into our administrative announcements. And our first administrative announcement will be given by myself. On behalf of the Moorish Science Temple, the Divine and National Movement of North America Incorporated, number 13, the Moorish American National Republic, I would like to thank the guests that are on this Moorish National Town Hall meeting, and we thank you for joining us this evening. Our prophet, Noble Jew Ali, founded the ancient Canaanite temple in 1913 in Essex County, New Jersey. Later, in 1916, his missionary work was entitled The Moorish Divine and National Movement. In 1917, he transferred the movement to Cook County, Illinois. In 1925, the temple was called the Moorish Temple of Science. In 1926, the temple was incorporated as a civic organization. In 1927, the temple was unofficially adopted as the Moorish Holy Temple of Science. Our prophet, Noble Jew Ali, also, subhanAllah, our prophet, Noble Jew Ali, stated that the Negro problem is being solved only as it can, and that is by the Moorish Divine and National Movement. If you have a nation, you must have a free national name in order to be recognized by this nation as an American citizen. After lawfully connecting with the private international law of the Pan American Conference in 1928, the temple's name was changed to the Moorish Science Temple of America. The temple was then incorporated as a religious organization under the Illinois Revised Statutes in Cook County, giving the temple and its members national and international power. During this same period of time, unfaithful members of the Moorish Science Temple of America in Chicago and Detroit conspired to destroy the positive existence of the movement, causing great confusion. This is the reason for the misunderstanding of the national side of the movement amongst all Moorish Americans until this very day. Our prophet, Noble Jew Ali, stated that Chicago is doomed and Detroit must go down for what they did to I, your prophet. Afterwards, in 1929, our prophet, Noble Jew Ali, made his transition to the plane of soul. Our purpose of establishing this meeting on Sundays is to properly educate people on what the Negro problem really is and to educate people concerning the national side of the movement of our prophet, Noble Jew Ali, so that you may receive a clear understanding of it. Our prophet, Noble Jew Ali, also stated, "Come all ye Asiatics of America, and hear the truth about your nationality and birthrights, because you are not negroes. In other words, all calling themselves negroes, black people, color folk, Afro-American, Latino, Puerto Rican, Hispanic, or any other such names that delude to slavery, you are not these. Your nationality has been taken away from you, and your birthrights have been stolen by way of your original birth certificate, social security card, and your state ID/driver's license, which is why clear color copies, both front and back from these, is required from you when applying for Moorish American citizenship, as you transform from your lower self to your lower, subhanAllah, as you transform from your lower self to your higher self while working towards your actual freedom and becoming free national Moorish American citizens. You have ignorantly contracted into the jurisdiction of the federal U.S. government corporation. Thus, your nationality is United States. You have surrendered your free national state citizenship by registering yourself voluntarily as a beneficiary of the U.S. government corporation by way of your birth certificate, which is an unrevealed trust account instrument placing you in commerce with the federal U.S. Federal U.S. citizens are not citizens at all. They are subjects and property of the District of Columbia, residents and franchisees of the so-called bankrupt U.S. government corporation under municipal law. The Constitution for the U.S.A., the Bill of Rights, and the 13th Amendment with its 20 sections does not apply to federal U.S. citizens. Federal U.S. citizens are subjects and property under statutory, admiralty, and maritime law, as well as martial law, under the undisclosed presumption of an international contract. Federal U.S. citizens have no constitutional protections or unalienable rights. They only have granted privileges by the U.S. government corporation. Legal persons born or naturalized in the federal U.S. were made exclusively by the 14th Amendment after the Civil War. The 14th Amendment was never lawfully ratified and therefore unconstitutional. Our Prophet Noble Jew Ali held up the red flag with the 5-pointed green star in the center in his right hand. This is our national flag. It is poorly misunderstood as the flag of Morocco. It is properly comprehended as the Moorish flag. He also held up the 48-star flag of the U.S.A. in his left hand. This is our flag of peace, friendship, and commerce within the states of the Union under the Republican form of government in this country. The 50-star flag of the U.S. with gold fringes around it does not represent free national Moorish American citizens. Social Security benefits and the income tax are voluntary contracts made mandatory for federal government employees and U.S. citizens who receive benefits from the federal government corporation. Asiatics are the Aboriginal indigenous inhabitants of America. However, due to the fact that the Asiatic birthrights have been stolen and we have fallen from the constitutional laws of the government, being placed in a chattel property status because of the reorganization of the U.S. with the New Deal in 1933, the Asiatics are now aliens, not to this country, but to all free national governments. We encourage everyone to become a naturalized Moor and register with the Moorish National Bureau of Vital Statistics in order to become part and parcel of this free national government. In this way, you are under the divine authority of our Honorable Prophet Noble Jew Ali, being under the jurisdiction of the Emancipation Proclamations of President Abraham Lincoln, inclusive of the 13th Amendment with its 20 sections, and not under federal jurisdiction, making your identity and your nationality Moorish American. The bankruptcy of the United States is a fraud. The Uniform Commercial Code administers this fraudulent bankruptcy. So those who undergo the UCC 1 financing statement and its further paperwork applications become a party to this fraud and disconnect themselves from the divine authority of our Honorable Prophet Noble Jew Ali, which is the conspiracy of the international banking cartel against us Moorish Americans. Also, having a seat in the United Nations is a trap. This places you under the controls of the cartels of Europe as well. Furthermore, a government that is a democracy is a trick. because this type of government is not of the common people, for the common people, nor by the common people. Educating the masses on these issues in order for the Asiatics to become functionally active is of the utmost importance for the progress and growth of the Moorish Divine and National Movement. For more information, visit our website, www.moorishamericannationalrepublic.com. During this meeting, we would like our guests to remain muted if you are not speaking. This will prevent background noise coming from you as these calls are being recorded. When you want to speak, press the star button twice to unmute your phone and state your name and where you are calling from. You may submit your questions to our email, townhall@moorishamericannationalrepublic.com. Again, townhall@moorishamericannationalrepublic.com. So your questions will be answered in the order in which they are received, as the email questions supersede direct questions from the audience. We would like our guests to continue to attend these meetings, and please invite your family members, associates, and friends to attend these meetings. And that will conclude the first administrative announcement. And we'll be going into our second administrative announcement, which will be coming by way of our National Inaugural Sunday School and be given by our Deputy Moorish Achiever in Training, Sister Jaden Levy-Ill and Brother Jameson Dennis Bay. Islam, beloved, you can press star and you have the floor.
Islam.
Islam, beloved Sister Deputy Moorish Achiever in Training, trusting all is well with you and the family, and you have the floor.
Islam, this is Deputy Moorish Achiever in Training, Sister Jaden Levi-Ill, calling out from the Louisiana Republic, and I'm 11 years old. First, I'd like to rise to my highest heights, giving all perfect praises to Allah, the Mother, Father, God of the universe. I'd like to remain standing and extend those honors to all of our true and divine prophets, naming Jesus, Muhammed, Buddha, Confucius, and our last prophet in these days and times, our honorable prophet, Noble Jali. Islam, can I be heard?
Islam, Moorish. This is Deputy Moorish Achiever in Training, Brother Jameson Dennis Bay. I'm 10 years old and I'm calling from the Florida Republic. I would like to give honors and praises to Allah, the Mother, Father, God of the universe. I will give honors to all of our officials, our branch chief, members, and guests on the call. I greet you all with Islam.
Islam to all. Islam to all. The Divine and National Movement of North America Incorporated, number 13. The Moorish American National Republic expects the presence of all members. To join us every Sunday at 12 noon Eastern Time for our Moorish Sunday School conference call. Please join us by calling 443-961-4434. That's 443-961-4434.
All Moors currently naturalized to the Moorish American National Republic are to forward an email to sundayschool@moorishamericannationalrepublic.com. Again, that's sundayschool@moorishamericannationalrepublic.com. Your email must contain names, ages, and phone contacts for adults, as well as names, ages, birthdays, and school grades for all children in the family. We will confirm your registration via your welcome and information packet. Any non-member desiring to join our Sunday school is invited to do so.
Again, the Moorish American National Republic Sunday School conference call is every Sunday at 12 noon Eastern Time. Please join us by calling 443-961-4434. That's 443-961-4434.
We had a magnificent and uplifting class today. You can listen to our class playbacks at www.moorishamericannationalrepublic.com. We look forward to exercising our five senses together with you as we build to manifest guidance for our nation. Peace.
Islam. And thank you for that administrative announcement. Our Deputy Moorish Achievers in Training, Sister Jaden Levy-Ill, and Brother Jameson Dennis Bay. Appreciate you much, beloved. Islam. Our next administrative announcement will be coming by way of our Moorish School and Law and History Board of Education, and it'll be given by our good sister Carla Green Ill. Islam, then, beloved sister, you can press star, star, and you have the floor.
Islam.
Islam, Sister Carla Green Ill, your vibrations is strong. Trusting all is well with you and the family. It's always a pleasure to hear your vibration, and you have the floor.
Islam, and thank you, Brother Cornelius Sanders Bay. Islam family, this is Sister Carla Green Ill from the Massachusetts Commonwealth. I rise to my highest heights and give all perfect praises to the Mother, Father, God of the universe, Allah. I give honors to all ancestors, known and unknown, recognizing and naming all true and divine prophets, Jesus, Muhammed, Buddha, Confucius, and the last prophet in these days and times, our illustrious Hebrew prophet, noble Jew Allah, in his first, second, and third form. Extending honors to our National Grand Sheikh, Joel Bratton Bey, all national officials, all sheikhs, sheikesses, deputy sheikesses, all of our children, students, members, guests, and citizens. I greet you all with Islam. Please remain muted for this very important announcement. Peace and greetings. The Moorish Science Temple, the Divine and National Movement of North America Incorporated, number 13, the Moorish American National Republic, requires from everyone desiring to proclaim their Moorish American nationality to fill out and complete an application for Moorish American citizenship and 3 course registration forms for each of the Moorish law and history courses, which I'll explain later. Many people question, why do we have to fill out paperwork and submit copies of our personal documents? This is the reason. We must know who you are, your background, previous affiliations, work history, physical abilities, education, skills, training, etc. First of all, these documents do not belong to you. They belong to the federal government. So you must remember that in their jurisdiction, you are an artificial corporation under civil rights and granted privileges. Secondly, we require these documents because once you are a free national Moorish American citizen, your file will be in the Moorish National Bureau of Vital Statistics, which is set up for each natural person. These Moorish documents that you'll be receiving at the time of your naturalization are prepared from these documents. The most important page in the application is the self-audit page. This allows you to make sure you know the appropriate attire to wear during naturalization and are submitting the required documents, fees, and photos. The documents must be clear-colored copies for clarity and authenticity. The photos must be passport size. We use the photos for your nationality and ID card. Please have your national and religious headdress on and write your name on the back of the photos. The application process is reviewed each week because applications are received in the National Register's office either with incomplete applications, no photos, or no documents. If a question on the application does not apply to you, place N/A, not applicable. This lets us know that you did read the question but did not omit it. We must read and follow instructions and learn to ask questions if we do not comprehend what is being said. The second part of the process is enrolling into the Moorish School of Law and History by registering for the 3 courses with the following completed forms. 1. A warning from a prophet class form. 2. Be it known class form. 3. Nationality and ID card class form. 4. Course rules and agreement form. Visit our website, www.moorishamericannationalrepublic.com, and download the application and registration forms. These forms will have the full instructions, requirements, and prerequisites for the classes. Also, mail with your application an updated copy of your resume. You are not paying for your nationality. Your nationality is free of charge. You are paying for the cost of enrolling in the Moorish School of Law and History, just as one pays tuition when enrolling into a college or a university. The costs are also directed to the application processes of the preparation of your documents, as you will receive these once you've completed the courses. It takes finances to raise a nation, and it takes finances to maintain and operate an educational forum. This concludes the administrative announcement by way of the Moorish School of Law and History. I return the floor to the moderator. Islam and peace.
Islam, and thank you for that administrative announcement, our good sister Carla Green Ill. Appreciate you much, beloved. Islam. Our next administrative announcement will be coming by way of our good brother Michael Simpson Ill Jr. with our warning. Islam there, beloved brother. You can press star, star, and you have the floor. Brother Michael Simpson Ill Jr.
Islam there, good brother Sanders Bay. Can you hear me?
Islam there, my good brother Michael Simpson L. Jr. I can hear you loud and clear. Trusting all is well with you and your family. The vibrations are strong and clear, and you have the floor.
All is truly well with me and the family, and all is truly well with you and the family, Mo?
Indeed. Giving thanks, beloved. You have the floor.
Thank you much, Mo, man. Much honor and gratitude. Brother Michael Simpson L. Jr., calling out of Wayne County, Michigan Republic. First, I'd like to rise to my highest heights, giving all perfect praise to our Mother, Father, God, Allah, to all our ancestors, spoken and unspoken, naming and honoring all true and divine prophets, Jesus, Muhammed, Buddha, and Confucius, and our last prophet in these days and times, our illustrious Hebrew prophet, our great Redeemer, Noble Jew Ali, in his first, second, and third form. I also like to extend those honors to our headquarters in Baltimore, Maryland, Temple number 13, our National Grand Sheikh, Joe Bratton Bay, to all our national officials, sheiks, sheikesses, deputy sheiks, and deputy sheikesses, and to all our family, friends, guests, students, and citizens, and to our illustrious future, our children, I greet you all with Islam. This administrative announcement is coming by way of our Sergeant at Arms Administration. Warning, if any persons, groups, or companies claiming to represent the Moorish Science Temple, the Divine and National Movement of North America, Incorporated, number 13, the Moorish American National Republic, in any way and offering to sell you such things as the application for Moorish American citizenship, naturalization paperwork, nationalization paperwork, trust documents with the Moorish American National Republic's logos, passports, diplomatic appointments, diplomatic papers, diplomatic motor vehicle license plates, driver's licenses, titles of nobility, doctorates or other educational titles, business banking licenses, tax shelters, tax identification cards, or the likeness of any of these, please contact the Moorish National Bureau of Investigation at area code 410-501-7301. I repeat, area code 410-501-7301. Immediately, violators will be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. The members and the grand body of the Moorish Science Temple, the Divine and National Movement of North America, Incorporated, number 13, the Moorish American National Republic are not sovereign citizens, nor Moorish nationals. The Moorish Science Temple, the Divine and National Movement of North America, Incorporated, number 13, the Moorish American National Republic is not, I repeat, is not a sovereign citizens movement. This administrative announcement comes by way of our Solicitor General, National Grand Sheikh, Joe Bratton Bay. And that concludes the reading of this administrative announcement. Islam, there, good brother Sanders Bay. The floor is yours. Islam?
Islam. And thank you for that administrative announcement, our good brother Michael Simpson L. Jr. Appreciate you much, beloved. Islam. Our next administrative announcement will be coming by way of our Deputy Sheikess Alyssa Thomas Bay with our caveat emptor. Islam, their beloved sister. You can press star, star, and you have the floor.
Islam, brother. All is well?
Islam, Deputy Sheikis, Alyssa Thomas Bay. All is truly well. Trusting all is well with you and the family. The vibrations is strong and clear. You know, it's always a pleasure to hear your vibration, and you have the floor.
Giving thanks, brother. Islam, this is Deputy Sheikis, Alyssa Thomas Bay, calling out of the New York Republic. First, I'd like to rise. I give all perfect praises to Allah, all of the divine prophets, Jesus, Muhammed, Buddha, and Confucius, our prophet in these days and time, Prophet Noble Ali, our national Grand Sheikh Joe Batten Bay, all of our national officials, all of our sheikesses, deputy sheikesses, member citizens, students, and guests. I greet you all with Islam. Notice to the public, let the buyer beware. Caveat emptor, Moors are men upright, independent, and fearless, who care for their loved ones and follow the prophet to a destiny which is not uncertain nor unknown. They are fortified by the impregnable doctrine built upon love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. It is therefore folly at its greatest heights for smelly culprits with their insidious plans to invade such realms. They try, but their own bad planning brings down wrath upon their head, like the sword old Damocles had. Intrigue and scurrilous cunning find a difficult path to travel within the ranks of the Moors. This is so because the Moorish movement has been well planned by Prophet Noble Ali, whose latent powers are abundant, unknown, and may be called into action as a matter of defense at any moment. Prophet Noble Ali knows the people within his ranks who are interested. They are a vanguard of the movement as the Moorish hordes increase here in America. All of the Moors are active, not passive. A member's interest can only be in one direction, and having traveled over the road years before the prophet knows where every member is along the road. A few feet below is another road where schemers walk, where traders grin, and culprits bask in the sun. They think they're on the same road with the true Moors, but the Moors are high above on a pinnacle, where they might view the destructionists as they fall for the last time, and their bones bleach in the sultry midday sun. Hungry scavengers flying high, catch scent, devour, and leave crying out, caveat emptor, cast out the dead carcass. The Moors high above see these plotters, purveyors the worst that exists, hurl themselves downward by their own work as the hawks await. By Prophet Noble Ali. The Moorish Science Temple, the Divine and National Movement of North America, Inc., number 13, Moorish American National Republic, advises the public with the words of the warning written by Prophet Noble Ali. The caveat emptor article message is the same today in 2021 as when written in 1928. We have been contacted by various natural persons who have sent funds to individuals and organizations, said funds paying for various documents. Said individuals and organizations have no affiliation with the Moorish Science Temple, the Divine and National Movement of North America, Inc., number 13, Moorish American National Republic. Be herein advised, the Moorish Science Temple, the Divine and National Movement of North America, Inc., number 13, Moorish American National Republic does not sell documents of any type. Again, we do not sell documents. Again, be herein notified that said individuals and organizations have no affiliation with our organization, the Moorish Science Temple, the Divine and National Movement of North America, Inc., number 13, Moorish American National Republic. Some of said organizations have mirrored names which read closely to ours. Therefore, pay close attention to whom it is you are sending your funds, as the Moorish Science Temple, the Divine and National Movement of North America, Inc., number 13, Moorish American National Republic carries no liability for funds sent to these individuals and organizations. There may be others, yet the three I am about to list have been repeatedly cited by those natural persons as the parties to whom funds were sent on the guise of sending said funds to our organization. R.V. Bay Publication, Moorish State University, and the Moorish National Republic, the federal government, Moorish Divine and National Movement of the World, the Moorish Science Temple of America. We will update this list as necessary. Trustly, the public is advised. Let the buyer beware. That concludes my administrative announcement. I say Islam in peace, and I return the floor to moderator.
Islam. And thank you for that administrative announcement. Our Deputy Sheikh is Alyssa Thomas Bay. Appreciate you much, beloved. Islam. Our next administrative announcements will be coming by way of our good sister Norma Solomon Ill with our National Holy Night call meeting and our Sisters Auxiliary meeting. Islam, then, beloved sister Norma Solomon Ill, you can press star, and you have the floor.
Islam, Brother Cornelius Sanders Bay.
Islam, my good sister Norma Solomon Ill, trusting all is well with you and yours. Your vibration is very high and strong, and it's always a pleasure to hear your vibration, our beautiful, lovely sisters, and you have the floor.
Islam, likewise, brother. Islam. Islam to the family. This is Sister Norma Solomon Ill, calling out of the Bronx County in the New York Republic. First and foremost, I'm rising to my highest heights, giving all perfect praise and the highest honor to Allah, the Mother, Father, God of the universe. I give honor to all true and divine prophets, known and unknown, naming, recognizing Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, Confucius, and to our illustrious Hebrew prophet in this new era of time, our beloved Prophet Noble Jew Ali in his first, second, and third form. I remain standing, extending honors to our National Grand Sheikh, Joe Bratton Bey, to all of our officials, national and local, to our sheikesses, our deputy sheikesses, to our sheiks, our deputy sheiks, to all of our citizens, members, students, children, or any guests that may be on the call this evening, I greet all in and with Islam. The first administrative announcement is coming by way of our National Holy Night Conference call, Islam. Friday is the holy day for all Muslims all over the world. Islam or Muslims, the public is invited to join our National Holy Night Conference call Friday evenings at 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Savings Time. If you live in an area without a temple or you are unable to attend your local Holy Night meeting, our National Holy Night Conference call is here for you. We invite the public and all members to join our National Holy Night Conference call at 443-961-4434 every Friday as we celebrate the closing of one creation and the opening of the next. Come give thanks to your creatress, creator, and exercise your five senses, celebrating and commemorating the divine unity of Holy Night. 443-961-4434 every Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Savings Time. See you at our Holy Night meeting. The next administrative announcement is coming by way of our sister auxiliary, Islam. The Moorish Science Temple, the Divine and National Movement of North America, Inc., number 13, the Moorish American National Republic, is delighted to announce our upcoming conference call dedicated to the uplift of Moabitist members of this divine and national movement under the leadership of our National Grand Sheikh, Joe Bratton Bey, and the nobles of our grand body. Our conference call's purpose is to create a network system amongst our feminine energy, showcasing the array of talents we, the sisters in this body, have to offer. We are calling on every sister in our organization to heed this call
Partake in this uplifting act and be an active spoke in the wheel of this Moorish Republic. Come and familiarize yourself with your sisters and reap the benefits of membership of this national body that is committed to bring about the positive change necessary to facilitate the uplifting of foreign humanity. We encourage our sisters to get involved and support this demonstration. The Moorish American National Republic Sisters Auxiliary is requesting the help and support of all our brothers and sisters to donate to our fundraising Life Pin and Tag Day celebration demonstrations. Show pride in your movement and support the Sisters Auxiliary as we assist in the uplifting of foreign humanity by donating $1 for a Life Pin, $3 for a tag, and $5 for a magnet. All three are designed to inspire, unite, and encourage dialogue about this great movement and our illustrious Hebrew prophet, Noble Drew Ali. This Moorish regalia can be viewed on our website, www.moorishamericannationalrepublic.com. Simply type in Sister Auxiliary in the search option. If interested in joining the Sister Auxiliary or any member wishing to order regalia, you can send an email to sisterauxiliary13@gmail.com. That is SISTERAUXILIARY 13@gmail.com. Please make note of your request in the subject line, whether it is membership, life pins, tags, or magnets. Please give your contact information, including your email and phone number. Our next meeting will be held on the fourth Thursday of the month of April, and that would be on April the 22nd, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That concludes the administrative announcements I have to give, and I'll turn the floor back over to the moderator. Much peace and love to the family. Islam.
Islam. And thank you for those administrative announcements, our good sister Norma Solomon Ill. Appreciate you much, beloved. At this time, if there's any announcements from any of our national officials, at this time you can press star, and you have the floor.
Islam.
Islam. That sounds like Sheikh Lawrence Young Bay.
Yes, it is, brother. Islam, how are you and the family?
Islam, all is truly well. Giving thanks, trusting all is well with you and the family. It's always a pleasure to hear your vibrations, and you have the floor.
It's good to hear your vibrations as well, man. I'm Sheikh Lawrence Young Bay, National Treasurer and Divine Minister out of the North Carolina Republic. First, I rise giving all perfect praise to Allah and to our ancestors. Some we know of, some we don't. To all our true and divine prophets, just to name a few: Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, and Confucius. And the last prophet in these days and times, our Redeemer, our illustrious Hebrew prophet, Noble Drew Ali in the first form, the second form, and the third. I extend my honors to the forerunner for Noble Drew Ali, Marcus Mosaic Garvey, and to our National Grand Sheikh Joel Bratton Bay, to our sheikhs, sheikhesses, deputy sheikhs, deputy sheikhesses, brothers, sisters, and parents and students in our Sunday school, and everyone on the call. I greet you with love and peace, peace, peace. Islam, Islam, Islam. This administrative announcement is to the members. When mailing your dues, subhanAllah, please mail your dues card with a photocopy of your dues card. In the upper right-hand corner of your dues card, you will find the letters DON and a blank line, which stands for date of naturalization. Write the date of your naturalization on that line. In the event that if you do not see this in the upper right-hand corner, write your date of naturalization up in the right-hand corner. Make 2 copies. Keep 1 copy home for your record. Include the month and year you are paying your dues. Also, if you change your address, please indicate so with a note when you mail your dues card. This is so we can update and mark your records correctly. This concludes my administrative announcement for the Moorish Science Temple, the Divine and National Movement of North America Incorporated, number 13, Moorish American National Republic. I turn it back into the hands of Brother Cornelius Sanders Bay. Islam, thank you for the time, beloved.
Islam. And thank you for that administrative announcement. Our Sheikh and Divine Minister and National Treasurer, Sheikh Lawrence Young Bey. It's always a pleasure, Sheikh. Islam.
Always, always, Mo. Glad to hear your vibrations as well. Peace.
Islam. At this time, if there's any announcements from any of our national officials, at this time, you can press ***, and you have the floor. Well, we don't have any more announcements. So at this time, it is now 8:12 p.m. and we have a total of 33 lines on the call. We'd like to thank you all for your presence and your energies, because you could have been anywhere, but you're here with us this evening, and we definitely appreciate you. And we're going to get into these thought-provoking questions and get some dialogue going, and trusting that all is able to get an understanding, overstanding, or some kind of standing. All right, the first question on the floor this evening reads, why don't you hear anyone else speak on this policy of freedom? Not congressmen, women, senators, other officials, etc. Islam, you can press ***, state your name and where you're calling from. Why don't you hear anyone else speak on this policy of freedom? Not congressmen, women, senators, other officials, etc. Islam, so you can press ***, state your name and where you're calling from. The questionnaire wants to know, why don't you hear anyone else speaking of this policy of freedom? Why don't you hear anyone else speak on this policy of freedom? I mean, just from the question myself, I would say you don't hear anyone else speak of the policy of freedom because it's not in your best interest for you to know about this policy of freedom. Because for you to be free, for you to have freedom, is for you not to be under the legal constraint of another. So if you don't hear them talking about the policy of freedom, then that means that what? You're under the constraint, you're under the legal constraint of someone else. Islam, is there somebody trying to come through? Islam? Islam, brother, you have the floor.
Islam, this is Marcus Troy Reynolds Eel calling from the Connecticut Republic, rising to my highest heights, giving all perfect praise to our Mother, Father, God of the universe, Allah, Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Send those honors to all our ancestors, known and unknown, naming the ones we do know, or a few of them, the prophets, Jesus, Muhammed, Buddha, Confucius, our prophet in his first, second, and third form, our Honorable Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Send those honors to our National Grand Sheikh, Joe Bratton Bay, and all the sheikhs, sheikesses, deputy sheikesses, and all the members on the call, and all the guests. I greet you with Islam. I would say, just a camelback, because I would say it doesn't pertain to them, it pertains to us. So we need to speak about what pertains to us. They're going to do what pertains to them. And from my understanding, fairness does not aid the volunteer. So it's on us to be vigilant and be about our rights and protect ourselves. And I yield the floor at that. Islam?
Islam. And thank you for getting us started, Brother Marcus Troy Reynolds Ill. Appreciate you much, beloved. At this time, if there's anyone who has any questions, comments, concerns, or would like to add on to what has already been stated, the floor is open. Islam, Deputy Sheikh Makabe, you have the floor.
How are you today, my brother?
All is truly well. All is truly well. Trusting all is well with you. Always a pleasure to hear you, and you have the floor.
Islam, same to you. Islam, Bismillah Rahman Rahim, ever rising to my high sides, giving perfect praises to Allah, the Mother, Father, God of the universe, and honoring all true and divine prophets, seen, unseen, known, unknown, and reincarnated, and to illustrious Hebrew prophets in these days and time, Prophet Noble Joel. Also honoring our National Grand Sheikh, Joel Breton Bay, and our officials in Baltimore and other republics, our sheikesses, sheiks, deputy sheiks, children, family, guests, visitors on the call. Shout out to Marcus Messiah, God with the forerunner, and to the ancient evil spirit that guide us through these turbulent times. I am the Commissioner Bay, hailing from the Empire Republic. I'm gonna take it like this, just adding on my part. According to the 14th Amendment, Dead Badger Law, Section 4, reads, and I won't read all of it, states the validity of the public debt of the United States authorized by law shall not be questioned, but neither the United States nor any state shall assume or pay any debt or obligation incurred in aid of insurrection or rebellion against the United States, or any claim for the loss or emancipation of slaves, but such debts, obligation, and claims shall be held illegal and void, which is contradicting Article 6, Section 1, Clause 3. So, Congress has authority over 14th Amendment citizens, artificial person, and they conspired not to accept any payment as stated in the 14th Amendment. So they make more money off of us being in slavery than we being free and able to provide for ourselves. And I leave the rest for my other brothers and sisters coming on. Islam, turn the floor to the moderator.
Islam. And thank you, Deputy Sheikh Makabe, for that beautiful addition and add-on. Appreciate you much, beloved. Islam.
Islam.
Islam, brother, you have the floor.
Islam. Thank you, Brother Cornelius Sanders Bay. This is Brother Herzel, calling out of the Washington State Republic. First and foremost, I'd like to rise to my highest of heights and give all perfect praise to our great Mother, Father, God of the universe, known as Allah. I'd like to remain standing and extend those honors to all true and divine prophets, naming Jesus, Muhammed, Buddha, Confucius, and our illustrious Hebrew prophet, Noble Drew Ali in his first, second, and third form. Extending those honors to our National Grand Sheikh, Joe Brian Bay, all of our national officials, Sheikhs, Sheikesses, Deputy Sheikhs, Deputy Sheikesses, the public, and all the members on the call. I greet you all with Islam. As I understand the question about this policy of freedom and why aren't anybody in Congress speaking about it, well, it's up to you to know your rights. If you don't know your rights, you don't have any rights. So if they don't speak about your rights, that doesn't mean that you can't speak about your rights. The black leaders are just that, the black leaders. So they're boule, and they have an agenda, just like Deputy Sheikh Makabe said. So there's a lot of money in keeping you dumbed down. There's a lot of money in keeping you in the situation and the state of mind that you're in. It's up to you to educate yourself about who you are. Know yourself. And once you know yourself and you educate yourself and read and try to understand about what's going on in the world and in the community that you're living in, then those things will not apply to you. You have to do the things that you need to do to make yourself a better citizen so that you can help your brothers and sisters. So you can't expect this de facto system to come and tell the true indigenous people who they are. Because if they do, then they're going to lose their money. So there's no benefit in them telling you who you are. So it's up to you, like the prophet said, know yourself. And you must learn to know yourself, and you must educate yourself to try to figure out what's going on. And he's already put it here to tell us. So you need only find that. And we have to stop asking these questions as to why the system is the way that it is and why they're not educating our people. They're not going to educate our people. They're not going to educate you and your children. You have to educate you and your children. You have to know who you are. You have to understand who you are. And with that, I said Islam and peace.
Islam. And thank you for that beautiful demonstration. Our brother Hearns Ill. Appreciate you much, beloved. Islam. At this Islam, you have
Islam, beloved. Oh,
Islam,
yeah.
okay? You have the floor.
All right, Islam. Someone else? Oh, okay.
Islam.
I apologize.
That's Deputy Sheikh Roy Bay. Part of self. Y'all came on at the same time.
Islam. Okay, I yield. Good brother Roy Bay got it.
Thank you, Sheikh. I'll bring you on right after Deputy Sheikh Roy Bay, Sheikh. Islam?
Islam, yes. Thank you, Brother Cornelius Sanders Bay. First, I rise to my highest heights. I want to give praise to Allah, the great God of the universe, who is almighty, eternal, and incomprehensible, the universal governor of this world seen and worlds that are unseen. I give honors to John the Harbinger, also known to us as the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey, both harbinger and forerunner to the Prophet Noble Jew Ali. I give honors to all true and divine prophets, naming Jesus, Muhammed, Buddha, and Confucius. All of you Asiatic Muslims on the call tonight, our National Grand Sheikh, Brother Joe Bratton Bay, Executive Government Headquartered out of Baltimore, Maryland. And I extend those honors to the Prophet Noble Jew Ali in the first, second, and third form, Islam. All right, so basically, I just want to say, the National Grand Sheikh has informed us on several occasions about this policy of freedom and what this republic did regarding government. It is documented in this organization. The policy of freedom was taken before Congress, from what he shared with us in class and from what he shared with us, with myself personally. This policy was put before the Congress. I believe it could have been in the 1980s. If I'm wrong, I'm sure I'll get corrected later on by Sheikh Orton Bay or National Grand himself. However, the Congresswoman who was involved with this process, she supported it, and she needed for the rest of the community to come behind, back it, and support it as well. But I believe could have been the CBC Congressional Black Caucus and others who work in government, whether they be the NAACP, Urban League, whichever they represent. But nonetheless, though, after researching the policy of freedom, they verified its authenticity from a governmental perspective, but they declined to engage it on the floor of Congress for fear of unemployment, which was their benefits, So we don't want brothers and sisters to think this demonstration has not been taken to that height, because it did reach the floor of Congress. In fact, about it, I believe National Grand said the policy of freedom did go on the floor, but the people, community at large, involved in organizations, again, declined to support it for fear of, I guess, making the great white father rear his ugly head. They knew the magnitude of this demonstration, and they didn't want to rattle any feathers off the tree. So it's still up to us, incumbent, because numbers are important. Anything that you desiring to have done or see done, you have to have at least between 10 to 30,000 people to demonstrate it. Pardon me, 30,000 people to demonstrate it. And nowadays, there are others who are trying to quietly link on to a lot of what the Moorish American National Republic has been teaching via the Moorish School of Law and History for quite some time. You know, while I'm on subject matter, let me just point out, you know, we have the Moorish National Bureau of Vital Statistics. And what was it, about 2 years ago, I was down in Baltimore, and I spoke to some other Moors, and they was trying to duplicate what we do here. Sheikh R. Edwards Ill and others, and they told me that they got a lot of what they was trying to do from what was done over here. And now they're trying to push an agenda to make it as if though they are the originators of this thought. So the information is being disseminated. It's just a matter of who's going to support it politically, and for those who want to support it publicly, who are not in government in that capacity, they would like to switch it and twist it around to make it seem like it's something they brought into existence. So this information is out there. In fact, it's even furthermore out there because if you heard about it, think to yourself, how many more others heard about it who ain't saying nothing about it and are not acting on it? With that, I yield the floor. Islam and peace.
Islam, and thank you for that beautiful demonstration and add-on, Deputy Sheikh Roy Bey. Appreciate you much, beloved. Islam, Sheikh Orton Bey, you have the floor.
Islam, beloved, appreciate you. Can I be heard?
Yes, loud and clear. You have the floor.
Islam, appreciate you, beloved. Islam Morris, this is your good brother, Sheikh Isaiah Orton Bey, calling out of Wayne County, Michigan Republic. First and foremost, I'd like to rise to my highest heights and give all perfect praise to our Mother, Father, God of the universe, whom we Moors refer to as Allah. Remain standing and extending those honors to our ancestors known and unknown, naming, recognizing all true and divine prophets, Jesus, Muhammed, Buddha, Confucius, our last prophet in these last days and times, our illustrious Hebrew prophet, the Honorable Prophet Noble Jew Allah, first, second, and third form. All honors to our national officials at headquarters in Baltimore, Maryland, under the guidance and direction of our National Grand Sheikh, Joe Bratton Bey, all of our Sheikhs, Sheikesses, Deputy Sheikesses, our staff, members, citizens, students, family, friends, associates. I greet you all with Islam, Islam, Islam. All right, good brother. The question was, why don't we don't hear about the policy being talked about by congressmen,
Islam,
congresswomen?
I'll read the question. Why don't you hear anyone else speak on this policy of freedom? Not congresswomen, congressmen, senators, and other officials, etc. Islam?
Islam. All right. Good question. All right. Beautiful commentary by brothers and sisters who spoke before I. So just to share my measure and give my demonstration. Like already been stated, Morris, it has been a great conspiracy. All right. From the foundation of a constitution, which, you know, they formed another constitution. So we have to know and understand our history and place in government to understand what happened, why it happened, how it happened, where did it happen, and again, what happened. This is why Prophet Noble Jew Ali was divinely prepared to give us that scientific method to break down and understand for ourselves. All right, so with understanding with the Constitution, Prophet Noble Jew Ali and his warning made us aware, and in his Moorish literature, of a free national government. Now, when we look at the word free in law, like our good brother Sanders Bay demonstrate, free means not under the restraint of others or oppressors. All right? So we have to look for ourselves and ask ourselves, the government that we live in now, Are we free? Are we able to do as we please? Just as if the police come with a warrant to come into your home, they have the right to do so, right? Okay. So, as a citizen, are you free? Prophet Noble Drew Ali made us aware of this foundation coming by way of our warning. Not only the warning, but Acts 6, when he spoke about the said government. Said in law means prior to. All right. So again, Prophet Noble Drew Ali, within his divine teachings and instructions, is giving us a blueprint. He's already letting us know that, hey, there's a government here, but it's two different jurisdictions here. I need to make you aware of what was prior to, because what's going on now is de facto. These words would not be in law if it didn't exist. You have de facto, you have de jure. That's your assignment. Look it up, get an understanding and clarity for yourself. The government that we're living in now is de facto. How do we know? They're crying out democracy. Isn't this a so-called democracy? Well, guess what? Nowhere in the Constitution will we find that word democracy, Democrat. The Constitution contains over 4,400 some plus words, and nowhere will you find the words democracy. So it's vital for us to understand the free national government that our prophet was making us aware of. This is where the conspiracy lies. This is what has been pushed under the rug. All praise due unto Allah for giving our good brother Abraham Lincoln the spirit and the intelligence to bridge that, to gap that bridge and incorporate our freedom lawfully. Prophet Noble Drew Ali coming on the scene, bringing us a divine and national movement, giving us the divine aspect, what Abraham Lincoln could not do. Abraham Lincoln solidified it for us lawfully, using or utilizing what? The Hebrew law. The laws of our house, the laws that of the house that we come from under. The Mosaic Code. Remember, Moors, your history. The Levites. Moses was a Levite. They were charged with disseminating the laws throughout the house of Israel. So these are the same laws of our ancient ancestors that govern us today. The constitutions are perpetual. So again, once we start to learn our history, the Union, which gave birth to the Articles of Association, 1774, which gave birth and further matured into the Declaration of Independence. It was further matured into the Articles of Confederation. To form a more perfect union, those first 7 articles, our Moorish foundation, is rooted within that foundation. Now, you can add to the constitutions all day, but whatever you add cannot counteract its foundation or its notwithstanding. So again, when they came with this corporate takeover and turned everything corporate, they defaulted on a contract when they did not fulfill the aims of the Civil War. This is why Prophet had to come with the warning. And again, let me get a little definition of warn. Inform someone in advance of an impeding or possible danger. So what was Prophet Noble Drew Ali warning us of? This was in 1928. The corporate takeover took place in when? 1933. He was ahead of the curve, warning not just us. Let's go into the warning. I am hereby calling on all true citizens that stand for a national free government and the enforcement of the Constitution. Why are they not talking on it? You have to enforce it. But how do you enforce something that you don't know? So again, Morris, is coming upon us to get founded and rooted in this law so we can make it enforced. If we go into these town hall meetings with the states and talking to these officials, what are you talking about? If we're not talking about this policy, we're not talking about nothing. So, of course, it's not going to be talked about. What's going to be talked about? Your granted rights, your granted privileges. You got a birthright. You got a right at birth. So again, it's coming upon us to know what law applies to us and how do we enforce this law to save the nation. And with that, I'll put a period behind my statements and demonstration, leaving the floor back to you, good brother. Islam. Peace.
Islam. And thank you for that beautiful demonstration and add on, Sheikh Orton Bey. Appreciate you much, beloved. Islam. Islam. Deputy Sheikess Alyssa Thomas Bey, you have the floor.
Giving thanks, brother. Islam, this is Deputy Sheikess Alyssa Thomas Bey, re-rising from previously to my highest heights, giving all perfect praise to Allah, our National Grand Sheikh, our ancestors, and all of the brothers and sisters on the call. Beautiful demonstration that was put on the floor by our Sheikh Orton Bey and our Deputy Sheikh Roy Bey and everyone that spoke before me. They summed it up beautifully. I just wanted to add on that they're absolutely right and correct. You have to really think about it. How was this system designed? And when you ask yourself, how was this system designed, for who to benefit and who not to benefit, then that kind of easily answers the question to why you might not hear certain policies or things being spoke about in Congress in today's day and time. You know, it's kind of like how the system is set up. I work in the social services field, and I pay attention from day one how it's set up. So, for example, if a person gets SSI or SSD, right, or public assistance, they apply for, they are qualified for Medicaid. It's kind of like a medical credit card where the system will pay any and everything. If they need a new kidney, if they need a heart transplant, I mean, they could get medical equipment, they could get everything, right? But the catch to that is that you're going to stay on a certain level. If you're willing to accept that this is the only income that you're going to get for the rest of your life, or you're not going to proceed or try to get more income, or, get a higher source of income, then they're willing to throw a lot of bonuses and incentives towards you, versus a person that might be what they call middle class or whatever, like they work, they have a career or a business, and they own a house or something like that. People can get grants if they live in an apartment up to $125,000 to pay their rent if they're about to be evicted. Let somebody miss one mortgage payment, and they will just pretty much let their house go within a blink of an eye. They don't have that medical coverage. They can't get that help. They say, well, you don't apply for a homemade or everything else because you make too much, or, you're over the income limit. It's kind of like that. It's like the system is set up to throw things at people that have a certain amount of income if they're low income. And if you have a medium to high income, no, you will get nothing. You will get no breaks. You will get no incentives. You're pretty much going to have to come out of pocket. So you're being rewarded for not elevating, or seeking more income. And if you try to elevate or seek, anything goes wrong, it's like you're being punished. Like, no, that's what you get for going past our, our income bracket. So it's just how the system is set up. I have never known or came across any information in this de facto government that where they purposely, publicly provided information that was beneficial for our salvation or for our upliftment. That's just my opinion and what I observe. So that answers the question to why you might not hear them speaking of it or even mentioning it, So that's really all I wanted to say, because the brothers they did an excellent job answering the question. So with that, I say Islam and peace.
Islam. And thank you for that beautiful demonstration, Deputy Sheikess Alyssa Thomas Bey, and adding it on to the floor. We definitely love when our sisters come and demonstrate, showing that balance. We definitely need you. Without you, they ain't no us. So definitely appreciate you all much. I just want to add one little thing on to what everyone else stated. And because the question contained, it said congresswomen, congressmen, senators, and other officials. So I just want to bring your attention to the United States of America Congressional Record, Proceedings and Debate of the 90th Congress, First Session, Volume 113, Part 12, June 12th, 1967 to June 20th, 1967. All right? And I'm going to read, the 14th Amendment is unconstitutional. The purported 14th Amendment to the United States Constitution is and should be held to be ineffective, invalid, null, void, and unconstitutional for the following reasons. The joint resolution proposing said amendment was not submitted to or adopted by a constitutional Congress. Article 1, Section 3, and Article 4 of the U.S. Constitution. The joint resolution was not submitted to the president for his approval. Article 1, Section 7. The proposed 14th Amendment was rejected by more than 1/4 of all the states then in the Union, and it was never ratified by 3/4 of all the states in the Union. Article 4. The unconstitutional Congress. The U.S. Constitution provides Article 1, Section 3. The Senate of the United States shall be composed of 2 senators from each state. Article 4 provides no state without its consent shall be deprived of its equal suffrage in the Senate. The fact that 23 senators had been unlawfully excluded from the U.S. Senate in order to secure a 2/3 vote for adoption of the joint resolution proposing the 14th Amendment is shown by resolution of protest adopted by the following state legislators. And it goes on to say that. So what I wanted to say in brief is I gave you the site in where you can look it up. And basically, so you're not going to hear this policy of freedom from the same people that I just explained and read for them, because the congressmen, the women, the senators, all of them know that it's unlawful, it's unconstitutional. So it wouldn't benefit them to let you know or tell you or speak about the policy of freedom. And as far as any other organization, any other temple, they wouldn't be able to, you wouldn't hear this policy of freedom from any other place but here. So with that, I put a period behind my conversation and demonstration, and I'll be going on to our next question on the floor for this evening. Our next question reads, when the warning of 1928 states that the Prophet incorporated the MSTofA in this said government, exactly what and which government is being referenced? Islam, you can press ***, state your name and where you're calling from. We cooking with gas. Come on now. When the warning of 1928 states that the Prophet incorporated the MSTofA in this said government, exactly what and which government is being referenced? Islam?
Islam. Islam, family.
Islam, brother Marcus Troy Reynolds Ill, you have the floor.
Marcus Troy Reynolds Ill, calling out of Connecticut Republic, where our charter was granted to us. Rising to my heights, giving all perfect praise to our Father, Allah. And I'm just going to, real quick, I believe it's 1774. We're part of the Organic Constitution. Islam. Also, I want to say that 1928, if you look at Matthew's 1928, you'll see how the religious affidavit ties into Matthew's 1928 when he says in the regeneration, the Son of Man shall sit on the Son of Man shall sit on his own throne in his own glory, and ye too shall sit on 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel. So that's where we are. We're in the regeneration. We've been here before. And I yield the floor at that. Islam?
Islam, my good brother Marcus Troy Reynolds Ill. Appreciate you much for getting the ball started, getting us rolling. Islam, at this time, if there's any questions, comments, concerns, or anyone that would like to add on to, the floor is now open. You can press ***, and you have the floor.
Islam?
Islam, I'll bring you on after brother Michael Simpson L. Jr. Islam?
Islam.
Islam. Islam, you have the floor, brother Michael Simpson L. Jr.
Islam, thank you much, brother Sanders Bay. And Islam, thank you, Sheikh, for yielding to me, and beautiful demonstrations by all the brothers and sisters that demonstrated already. First, I'd like to rise to my highest heights, giving all perfect praises to Allah and to our illustrious Hebrew prophet, Noble Jew Ali, in his first, second, and third form. Can you read the question for me again, good brother Sanders Bay?
Indeed. The question reads, when the warning of 1928 states that the Prophet incorporated the MSTofA in this said government, exactly what and which government is being referenced? Islam?
Islam. Thank you much, good brother. Well, as Sheikh Isaiah or Bay already stated, that the word said means prior to. So when we looking at that, when we're looking at that word, we know that's before. So the prophet, what he is referenced to, he is referenced to the Republican form of government, because in his days and times he was under common law. So now in these days and times we not under common law as we speak. We under British colonial operations. So that's why the prophet said that if you don't do anything, you must proclaim your nationality. So to get from under that jurisdiction and those three dead badges of law that we call the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment, because as the prophet stated, he stated that the 14th and 15th Amendment is not applicable to my people. But he left the 13th Amendment for the Moors to go do some research, because this is Moorish science. So he knew that there was some research to be done there. So we are under the Republican form of government, as stated in the last question. If you read the Constitution, which is over 4,500 words, there is no democracy, Democrat, that those terms are not mentioned in the Constitution because they don't exist. It's de facto. It was created in 1871. And that's what everybody is now under, as far as what government that they think they are part of. That's what the masses are under, and they don't realize that. They don't know, because things we talk about here in this grand body has been hidden and buried. But now the truth is, Allah is always on time, and the truth is never late. So Islam, I'm in my demonstration right there. Peace and love. Islam?
Islam. And thank you for that beautiful demonstration, our brother Michael Simpson L. Jr. Appreciate you much, beloved. Islam. Islam, Sheikh Orton Bey, you can press star, and you have the floor.
Islam, appreciate you, beloved. Islam Moorish is your good brother, Sheikh Isaiah Orton Bey. We rise into my highest heights to give it all perfect praise to our Mother, Father, God of the universe, and we Moors refer to as Allah. Giving all honors to our last prophet in these last days and times, our illustrious Hebrew prophet, the honorable prophet, noble Jew Allah, first, second, and third form. Islam, Islam, Islam. All right, beautiful commentary by our good brother Simpson Ill. Just to come back on, actually touch bases on what I was going to speak on, but and again, just to reinstate what was stated. Again, more as we have to understand and know what Prophet Noble Jew Ali did. Again, what was his duty? Understanding the prophecies that he fulfilled, things of this nature. So when we look at our authority, when it was filed August 1st at 2:52 p.m. in Cook County, Illinois, 1928, this is what declared the new era of time. Now, and again, we go to our Act 6 of our reading Act 6. I'm not going to read it, the whole thing. I'm just going to go in part. Let me see where we at. All right. But this is a new era of time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. So the new era of time, This is the new era of time, August 1st, 1928 at 2:52 p.m. Prophet Noble Jew Ali resurrected. All right, I'm going to say that again. He resurrected the aspects of the free national government. You see your first 7 articles with our divine constitution and bylaws. You see 7 acts. It's not contrary to its foundation. So Prophet Noble Jew Ali, being the genius citizen that he was, incorporated us under common law, utilizing what? The Hers Revised Statutes, chapters 32 and 36. Once you go into the Hers Revised Statute or the Religious Corporation Act, all right, remember, you have the right to worship God by your own dictates and your own consciousness. This is why Prophet Noble Jew Ali brought us nationality and divine birthrights and divine creed. All right? Your religion must be stated for the record. So again, incorporating us through the Religious Corporation Act. And again, after Prophet Noble Jew Ali did that, just to streamline real quick, Vatican mirrored the Prophet, and they incorporated February 2029. I mean, I said 29. 1929. After Prophet Noble Jew Ali made his transition to the plane of soul. So again, studying and seeing what the Prophet did, Vatican formed themselves, and then there's a few other certain Masonic orders, but after that, the states, they closed, the government closed that down. You can't register your business or your corporation under that system, which was known as the ancient torrent system. And again, this was dealing with land. Remember, Prophet Noble Jew Ali nationalized the land, building the bridge for us to do what? Naturalize, become citizens. Naturalization, the process by which an individual acquires nationality after birth. This bridge or this doorway is the Moorish Science Temple of America, the Divine and National Movement, number 13, incorporated, number 13, the Moorish American National Republic. This is that gateway. This is the door for all members that's dealing with this divine and national standard. With us, all members must proclaim their nationality. Lawfully, we must go through this doorway known as naturalization, lawfully. So again, this is the process. And again, that said government is talking about the government which existed prior to the de facto. What was that government? Republican form of government, the U.S.A., not to be confused with the U.S., the United States. 2 different things. All right. Your free national government is the Republican form of government, which is validated by the Constitution, Article 4, Section 4. So this is the Republican form of the Republican form of government that Prophet Noble Jew Ali was making mention of in the warning. That said government, Republican form, for the people, of the people, by the people. What's the name of the document? Our authority, for the people, of the people, by the people, with us. We have to pay attention to the signs, Morris. It's all for us, but it's coming upon us to do what we have to do. And again, learn what happened to it, what happened to us, how it happened, why it happened, where it happened, and what happened. And we got the answer and the antidote to all of those questions. And with that, I put a period behind my statements and yield the floor back to you, good brother. Peace.
Islam. And thank you for that beautiful demonstration and add-on, Sheikh Orton Bey. Appreciate you much, beloved. Islam.
Islam?
Islam, Deputy Sheikh Roy Bey, you have the floor.
Thank you, my good brother. We rise into my highest heights, giving all honor to that pertains to Islamism, the short version. Press the time, man. I want to go into the Holy Koran of the Moorish Science Temple of America, chapter 34 on religion. I want to read verse 1. There is but one Allah, the author, the creator, the governor of the world, almighty, eternal, and incomprehensible. You stop right there. And many of you, when you hear me open up to demonstrate, I often speak from that chapter when I make reference to law being the universal governor, etc. I'm coming out of the chapter of religion with that. But I'm talking on that chapter now because when you're talking about government and which government is the prophet talking about, Sheikh Isaiah Orton Bay and the brothers that preceded him are correct. But because we have a divine constitution and bylaws, we also have to recognize anytime we talk about government regarding our de jure situation, divine comes before natural. There's a brother that was more, what was it? Yeah, in fact, yesterday. And one of the brothers, he was on probation, active probation. The story goes, he went into the courtroom and he was trying to do a name change. And in that state, if you are on probation with a felony, you really cannot do a name change or a name correction. You have to be pardoned by the governor. I didn't know this. I don't live in Carbondale, Illinois. So he went on to have that done some type of way. I can't remember everything he said because I had a bad connection on the call, and I was doing laundry at the same time. But long story shorter, the judge asked him, the magistrate asked him, which governor did he confine with to have his name changed or corrected? And he cited this chapter from the Holy Koran on religion. He said that Allah was the governor, and he presented the Koran in the courtroom, and he told there was verse 1. And read it, dismissed his probation, and sent him on his way. I thought that was very interesting. I said, wow, that's powerful. And it just so happens that this question came on the floor tonight, so I figured it'd be, sort of fitting as an add-on, just to put that thought in your mind. When we're talking about government, Allah is first and foremost, divine, then natural. Then we get into the earthly politics and, the salvation of man. So I just wanted to sort of put that thought out there. Peace.
Islam. And thank you, Deputy Sheikh Roy Bey, for your demonstration and add-on. Appreciate you much, beloved. Islam. At this time, Islam, Deputy Sheikh Makabe, you'll be the last demonstration I'll be taking before I bring National Grand on. Islam, you have the floor.
Islam, ever rise and giving perfect praises to Allah, Mother, Father, God of the universe, and honoring all true and divine prophets, known, unknown, seen, unseen, and incarnate into illustrious Hebrew prophets in these days and time. Honoring all Muslims on the call, and all Muslims all over the world. The said government has said was that Republican form of government that came into existence in 1787 with the forming of the Constitution, the first 7 articles. There's a story that a woman asked a question of Benjamin Franklin upon him coming out of the convention. And she said, well, doctor, what do we have? A republic or a monarchy? Benjamin Franklin replied, a republic if you can keep it. So that is the organic government that the Prophet incorporated the MSTofA in. And I return the floor, Islam.
Islam. And thank you, for that beautiful demonstration and add on, Deputy Sheikh Makabe. Appreciate you much, beloved. Islam. Well, my good people, at this time, we're about to get ready bring our National Grand Sheik on, but I just wanted to add on to and tie into what everyone said, Sheik Orton Bay, all the brothers and sisters, and just because it said, speaking on a warning, and a warning from the Prophet in 1928 in the third paragraph, it states there is but one issue for them to be recognized by this government and of the earth, and that comes only through the connection of the Moorish Divine and National Movement, which is incorporated in this government and recognized by all other nations of the world. And through it, they and their children can receive their divine rights unmolested by other citizens. So I just wanted to tie that in there with in addition to what everyone stated. And at this time, I like to ask everyone to mute their lines and remain muted, as we have a total of 44 lines on the call. At this time, I'd like to introduce and bring to the floor the National Grand Sheik of the Moorish Science Temple, the Divine and National Movement of North America Incorporated, number 13, the Moorish American National Republic, my brother, your brother, our brother, National Grand Sheik Joel Bratton Bay. Islam there, National Grand, you can press star star and you have the floor. And we know you're going to bring us home. Bring us home.
Islam, Moses, Islam again. Thank you all. Thank you, my noble brother. Trusting everything is going well with you and the family and everyone else is on this call. Because we all right. We're up under the love and the authority and the protection of our God, Allah, through his prophet, Noble Drew Ali. Islam, as always, I want to rise to my highest height and giving all my love and praise to a great, great, great God. The name is Allah, who we should always praise and honor and love. Giving honor to all of our ancestors, those that we think of and those that we speak of and those that we don't. There's so much a part of us, in us, and around us. They're there. A lot of times when you see a fleeting glance come by you, just think about it. Giving honor to all of the divine prophets, namely Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, and Confucius, and our most illustrious Hebrew prophet is none other than the honorable prophet, Noble Drew Ali, who's truly our Savior as well as our Redeemer. Also giving honor to all of the Moorish staff and officials who I greatly appreciate, really I do, and giving honor to all of our members and all the Moors in general throughout the diaspora, and all of you noble brothers and sisters who's on this call this evening, thanking you for your time and just by the mere fact that you want to come on these calls and listen and gather information, because the gifts of understanding are the treasures of Allah. And he has appointed those, their measure, for you to be here. So that gift is a treasure to you, so honor that. Well, Mose, thanking you much. I just want to thank our noble brothers and sisters, and it's great. It's great to have noble brothers and sisters as we do, because no general is as good as his troops. And that's why I appreciate these noble brothers and sisters greatly, because what is it that I can be without them? Thanking you all much for all of your demonstrations, my noble brothers and sisters, because you are really a part of this house of love, and this energy of love will always be absolute. Islam. Well, camelbacking on what our noble brothers and sisters have demonstrated, and I'm sure all of you on this call have got a great ear of a true lesson, because what's being taught is the naked truth, the bloody truth, and the divine truth. Everything is in threes. So by that being the case, I just want to camelback on what has been said, and there's really too much more I can add, but I always like to add a little bit more. And I'm going to just get into a couple of things regarding this last question. Last week, I gave a demonstration about the former president of Zimbabwe, who was Robert Mugabe. I want to bring that back
this evening. Why? Because we want a very touchy subject that's very sensitive, and it's relating to the question. And it's all about the warning of 1928. And that's why the prophet did issue a warning to all of America regarding his divine statements, because they're not usual. Because we don't have a usual person telling us anything. It has to be divine intervention, and our prophet is that. So let me share this again, and then we're going to see how all this ties into the question. Well, President Robert Mugabe, he was the prime minister of Zimbabwe from 1980 to 1987. Then he became the president from 1987 to from 1987 to 2017. And I wanted to bring this in because, see, the vibration, the energy that is permeating the earth right now is an awakening energy. And our folks throughout the planet is beginning to wake up. They don't show or tell about the activities in these various countries, about the people and their concerns and what they're tired of. But this particular president was on the page of us, and his own spill that he was giving to his people. And the same language applies to us. Why? Because we all are one. We're all one. Even though we're scattered, but we still one. So let's hear what he said. He said, they decided your name, comma. Then he said, they decided your nationality, comma. And inclusive of what else? Your religion and tribe. And then he emphasized this. He says, and check this, and you spend the rest of your life defending something you didn't even choose. Don't you see this makes you a fool? Robert Mugabe, the president of Zimbabwe. And his last statement was, wake up. So though we know it's time to wake up, I brought forth a song we all knew by, I think it was Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes that the brother made me aware of, Teddy Pendergrass. He was a part of this group, from what I understand, and they had a song called Wake Up Everybody. It's time for us to wake up, people. Really it is, especially nowadays. And even Marvin Gaye came in with a very suitable timeline of a song called What's Going On. So I'm going to take those two titles and bring them together. What's going on is that we need to wake up to. That's where I'm going. So let's deal with the question. Well, question says, when the warning of 1928, and that's very important, a warning for a whole nation of people who've been asleep. No ordinary man could wake us up. No ordinary man could give us a warning such as this. Because if we had that warning in the confounds of what this represents, we probably wouldn't be on this call this evening. So this warning states that the prophet incorporated the Moorish Science Temple of America, and he did, and as was stated by the noble brothers, he declared a new era of time. You need to look up the word era. Well, era is about 2,000 years, but it was a new era of time And their time was out on August the 1st, 2:52 p.m., 1920. When you factor the numbers, you're going to come out to 1099. That's the charter number. That's divine. Can't go no higher than that. So our prophet says, according to this statement, he incorporated the Moorish Science of America, and the question deals with in this said government. So the person who posed the question want to know exactly what and which government is being referenced. Our noble brothers and sisters gave a beautiful demonstration on that answer. You know, we don't have a question without an answer, but you got to have a question first to get the answer. So we've been answering all the questions because we represent the question and the answer. We just don't know because we don't know the answer of the question. So continuing, we're dealing with the referencing exactly what and which government is being referenced. Let's deal with this. Now, as was stated by the noble brothers, the key point was in the warning when the prophet made reference to the fact that he said that if we were free, ever since the free national constitution, and that constitution declared all men equal and free, and if that is true, and we know it is, and if all men are declared by the free national constitution to be free and equal, since that constitution has never been changed, there's no need for the application of the 14th and 15th Amendment for the salvation of our people and citizens. But the great majority of us don't know what the free national constitution is or what it represents or how it applies to us. Because that free national constitution is the first constitution, which is the organic one. So let's tie in some dots so we can see why the prophet made reference to that. And as was stated also in Acts 6, when it said we're part and parcel of the said government, it's taking you back there where we're getting ready to go. And to bring it home again, we're going to deal with the preamble to the Constitution. When it says, we the people of the United States, in order. Now, this order was an order. So they capitalized that O. It's an order. So we the people are ordering this government to let everybody know that we are to form a more perfect union. And we are to establish justice for us, ensure domestic tranquility for us, provide for the common defense for us, promote the general welfare for us, and secure the blessings of liberty, which is your birthright for us, to ourselves and to our posterity. And this order is to do what? Is to ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. For the United States of America. So this law, this Constitution, those first 7 articles, your organic, your free national Constitution, was established and ordained for the United States of America. So you see, those first 7 articles was established for the United States of America. But something happened. Something happened. So there were 2 constitutions. And it says, 2 constitutions in the United States first was illegally suspended in favor of the Vatican Crown Corporation in 1871. Now, see, all these churches, all these temples, they 501c3s, right? But what they don't tell you, they're serving another God. But our prophet Noble Drew Ali says, give the church and Christianity back. That ain't happening. That's why you don't hear about this national side. They can't talk it. Oh, they can't. They don't get involved. They're getting grant money. So let me continue. And so now they're giving us a bullet point on what has transpired. I'm going to get into something else when I just deal with this first, because I want to tie in the foundation of what this question represents from what all of the noble brothers and sisters spoke on. See, we got to be patient with one another and understand how to connect the dots, because we represent the dot. But the dot has been disconnected. So let's continue. So now check this out. It says, since 1871, the United States President and the United States Congress has been playing politics under a different set of rules and policies. Now, I've been through this before, more than once. But when certain questions come up, you have to relate back to what has been said previously, because a lot of times, a lot of us don't get it right off the top. Sometimes you got to hear 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times before to sink in for you to truly connect the dots. So a lot of times you step out the picture, take some breaths, slow the ether vibration down, and let it come into you slowly. Absorb your soul, because it's real. Now remember I said it's in threes: the naked truth, the bloody truth, and the divine truth. We on all three planes right now. Let's see. So then it says the American people do not know that there are two constitutions, and we don't. They don't let you know none of this, what we're dealing with, what we teaching and preaching. They don't let you know, because it's been a conspiracy. So by us being on the two constitutions in the United States, it made us fall down. So it says the first pen by the leaders of the newly independent states of the United States in 1776. Then on July the 4th, 1776, the people claimed their independence from the crown. The crown. Then you're dealing with the Pope. Because see, the Pope and that crown had a meeting with the board of directors of the Vatican Bank. And we know these corporations are all about that money and banking. Let me continue. So it was a temporal authority of the Roman Catholic Pope. And this is when democracy was born, just like the Sheikh was saying. There's nothing in the Constitution that organic or free national Constitution represents democracy. It talks about a republican form of government. Republic. It was the Democrats who voted to keep us in slavery. They ain't going to tell you that. And all of our people were Republicans up until the 60s. Something happened, so let me continue. And then it says, and for 95 years, the United States people were free and independent. But wow, look at what happened. In 1871, that freedom ended. And what happened? That's when the original Constitution for the United States of America, up in lowercase, was changed to the Constitution of the United States of America, all capital letters. See, all the states became corporate, y'all. That's why you get your mail and whatnot in capital letters and everything from the government, whether it's a municipality, whatever it may be. Everything is corporate. Check it for yourself. So I'm going to continue and highlight another portion of this information, because this is a 4-page document, so I'm going here and there. So then it says this. It says that What Congress did by passing the Act of 1871 was to create an entirely new document, a constitution for the government of the District of Columbia and incorporated government. Instead of having absolute and unalienable rights guaranteed under the organic constitution, we the people, we now have relative rights or privileges. One example is the sovereigns, the people, right to travel, which has now been transformed under corporate government policy into a privilege that requires citizens to be licensed, driver's license, and passports. By passing the Act of 1871, Congress committed treason against the people who were sovereign under the grants and decrees of the Declaration of Independence and the organic Constitution. The Act of 1871 became a foundation of all treason since committed by government officials. Check it. Now you see Washington is shut down. Government offices and things like that. Everything is, see, we're going into a reset. A lot of your congressional folks you don't see no more. A lot of these movie stars you don't see them no more because it's been a military tribunal. Everything is, we're under martial law as we speak. And a lot of these congressional folks and Hollywood actors, etc., they have been tried for treason and have been executed. You ain't going to see them. A lot of them have ankle braces on, but they ain't going to let you know. But they was part of the pedophile group and child pornography and whatever. A lot's going on behind the scenes, people, and we better wake up and see what's going on, because even these shots and all this mess, for old people, you're going to be zombies if you continue to take these tests and all this. I mean, you see how they flooding the airwaves, take the test, and this and that. They people lying like crazy. But see, they got to depopulate the planet. Who gives them the right to be God against the children of the Most High? Well, Allah is watching. The forces of nature are stirring. And our God, Allah, is going to show them who's boss. Let me continue. So now, as of 1871, the United States, all capital letters, isn't a country. It's a corporation. In preparation for stealing America's, the puppets of the Roman Catholic Pope's banking cable had already created a second government, a shadow government designed to manage what the people believed was a democracy. And that shadow government, as the Moses was talking tonight, is the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments. That's the shadow government. Now remember, it's all in threes. 1865, we free. 3 years later, the 14th Amendment. 1868, 3 years later, 1871, we corporate. But check this. Let's go back. No, let's go ahead. 1883, the Supreme Court say, hold it. We see the deal. Y'all corrupting the government and taking the rights away from the people under this shadow government. So in the year 1883, the Supreme Court declared the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments unconstitutional, the shadow government. 3 years later, Prophet Noble Drew Ali was born, 1886. So check it. Now, if you subtract, let me see, 1871, or what was it? I think I wrote this down. If you subtract 1871 from 1883, that's 12 years. 1 and 2 is 3. Now you see what's going on now. You see what's going on. See now, you got corrupted officials all through this maze of conspiracy to keep the lie going. But lo and behold, as There's a prophet, there's a God. So let me continue. I don't want to get ahead of myself. So dealing with that, but what really was incorporated, which was the United States together, this chimera, this two-headed monster, disallowed the people all rights of soji, juris, you and your sovereignty. So now, in this phase of this thing, it said the United States is a crown colony. The United States has always been and remains a crown Roman Catholic Pope colony. That's the United States. Corporate now. King James I, who's a Moor, is not just famous for translating the Bible into the King James Version. So anytime you have a version, you got to take it from somewhere. So what was the original format? King James gave his version. But for signing the first charter of Virginia in 1606, which granted America's British forefathers, which was us now. We were the colonists, it was the Moors, y'all. Those nobles, the house of the nobles was us. They whitewashed the characters. Took our names. There were 5 Stuart kings. Oh, people. Get the book, Lee Cummings, The 13 Black Colonies. You're going to find out some stuff. These people have hoodwinked us, bamboozled us, flim-flammed us, whatever you want to say in that derogatory phase of life. They did it to us. Played our minds. Why? Because the man that controls your habits controls you. And look how they control it. Every habitual thing we want to do, are they not in control? By what? These bogus laws. So let me continue. Well, you know, the America's British forefathers license, see, they was licensed to settle and colonize America. Remember the first charter of Virginia, 1606. That's when it all took place. That particular charter guaranteed future German Roman Catholic kings and queens of England would have sovereignty, authority over all citizens, and colonize the lands in America. Deep. There's more to it. I'm jumping around. I'm coming to an end of this. However, y'all, it is becoming increasingly apparent to American citizens that government is no longer being conducted in accordance with the U.S.A. organic constitution. So that's why our prophet, in his warning, 1928, when he says there's only but one issue for us to be recognized, and it'll only come through the connection of the Moorish Divine and National Movement, which is incorporated in this government and recognized by all the nations of the world. And through it, they and their children can receive their divine rights unmolested by other citizens. So on your nationality card, you're going to see, I am a citizen of the U.S.A. Prophet Noble Drew Ali. The Moors miss that. They don't know how to connect those dots. But we the dot. They don't know how to connect. So our prophet is letting all of us know, through his divine authority, you become this citizen. So if Brother Deputy Sheikh Roy Bay, I'm trusting that he's still on the call, because I would like for him, and I'm going to bring in something. And I trust y'all didn't miss what the brother said, because it was powerful. Deputy Sheikh Roy Bay, if you still on the call, can you bring back that commentary you had about this brother in the courtroom? I want you, Mo, to take time to hear what he's saying, if the Mo's still available.
It's Deputy Sheikh Roy Bay. You have the floor.
Yes, brother. Praise the Lord. Thank you very much.
Yes, Brother National Grand Sheik, will do. So the brother was speaking. They called me yesterday, about 7 or 8 brothers and sisters, and they wanted to share with me what took place out in Carbondale, Illinois. And the law out there was that if you had a felony of any kind, or you was on some type of system probation, and you wanted to do a name change, a name correction, you would have to get that authority from a governor of the state, who would have to give you a pardon. The brother, and I'm going to get more information on it, but he said that he managed to get it done, and the judge asked him in the courtroom how he got the authority to do what he did, because he would need a pardon from the governor. And he went on to state that he did have a pardon from the governor. And she asked what governor was he talking about, pretty much. And he revealed the Holy Koran to her, and the chapter on religion, verse 1, where it states, and I quote again, "There is the one Allah, the author, the creator, the governor of the world, almighty, eternal, and incomprehensible." And he said that she read it, and she paused for some seconds or whatever, and he was on active probation. And she dismissed his probation and gave him all the honors and accolades that he was there to rectify pertaining to a situation. And I was going to share with you in private, National Grant, but I didn't get a chance to call you yesterday. But I spoke about it tonight, so you heard it now. I thought it was a very powerful piece, and he's going to be speaking on it pretty soon. I said, and so I told them more than Carbondale, Illinois. I said, well, I'm definitely going to share this with my National Grand Sheik out in Baltimore, and so I just spoke on it tonight, and that was a very powerful piece, very impressive. The Prophet Noble Drew Ali told us there's a misunderstanding as to what this thing is dedicated to. And we who really teach the national side of the organization, this is where you get your salvation. We have an earthly and divine one. But taking your place in the affairs of man, understanding what the prophet brought, not being afraid to stand before Rome and represent these principles, is where you get your benefits. I yield the floor, National Grand. I won't take up too much of your time.
No more. That's fine. I want you to speak on this, because the reason why I want you to bring this in, because so many of us think or take the prophet's teachings for granted, like it don't have credence. But see, they made law out of the Bible, out of divine scripture. See, this is Hebrew law, basically. And see, these judges and whatnot, they know about Noble Drew Ali. Now, I'm going to tell y'all something. And not to say this was because of what we've done, but this type of thing is a very positive move, because, see, we made everybody, from the president on down to these congressmen, aware of Noble Drew Ali. What we've done, we sent communications to all the chief judges around the country. And in that communication, we talked about our prophet, these laws, etc. And I had submitted, as an attachment to the letter, the Jack Lee's case, our charter, and the warning of 1928. I sent the same thing to President Trump. And see, a lot of people miss what he said when he said there's only, he said just because you're born here, that don't make you a citizen, and 14 men will never ratify it. Now, that's powerful. That's a powerful statement from a president. And see, so many of us let it go by the ear. They ain't paying no attention. Oh, the man crazy. But he gave us a sign. And he let the world know that he's on our page, really. Because if y'all don't know, things that they doing in government now, they trying to get everything back to the republic behind the scenes. So a whole lot going to be coming down. And see, with this situation with this brother, and I know you can do these things, a lot I can tell you about, but the reason why I wanted W. Sheikh Roy Bay to express this so y'all can feel good about this movement and your prophet and the laws that you have. See, there's no law supersede divine law. None. All these laws that they have in these courts is Hebrew law. They just codified them. So when that brother took the prophet's teachings, the book of secrets, because it is a secret, because what he did was a secret, but he used the book of secret to substantiate his dilemma. And all the years that I've been dealing with these officials and judges too, none of them have gone against the prophet's teachings. They applaud you for standing on it. So I just wanted to say that. That's why I want the brother to bring this in to this particular call. Because when I was close to the chief judge, I was the liaison between him and our prophet in the third form, Grand Sheik Richard and Dingle. I was the liaison. He would give me notes, give to the prophet, and vice versa. And the prophet said, son, give the judge the prophet's literature in a package. And I did. And he and I became very, very close, I'm just saying. And even when I was down in Miami, these European officials love the prophet's works more so than we do. They wanted the Circle 7. They wanted my orientation book, which they took, asked her to make copies of it, articles of incorporation. Oh, I can give you a whole spill of stuff, but I'm just saying, you don't realize how blessed you are to have the prophet's teachings. Europeans know, but you don't know. So I just wanted to bring that in. See, they don't have no law higher than God's law. There's no law on this planet higher than the laws of Allah. Believe that. But you got to know how to use it. That's what the Moorish Supreme Court of Equity and Truth is all about. It's a common law court. That's why we do the naturalization process. According to the Judicial Act of 1802, it says Congress can't naturalize nobody. It has to be a state court of common law. So when you Google our name, you're going to see the Moorish Supreme Court of Equity and Truth common law court. And we doing the naturalization process according to Article 1, Section 8, Clause 4 to establish a uniform rule of naturalization. And that stems back to the Hebrew Code by complying with the requirements of what? Naturalization. So we giving you compliance that the government didn't do to bring you back home. So if the prophet says there's only but one issue to be recognized, that's how you're being recognized through your paper trail, most. That's why it's so important for you to come through the doorway of the prophet. Because you don't have no salvation otherwise. Because everything else is de facto. It's not law. It's a color of law. Okay, so let me just continue with this. So then it says, with the U period, S period, A period, organic constitution, or within states according to state constitutions. Then you hear that? Within states according to state constitutions. I want to bring in some things about the passport situation, about the state constitution, but I'm not going to have the time to break some things down to you about certain things we're doing regarding the state constitution and how all this ties into this pre-national constitution or organic constitution. Continuing, it says, while people have recognized for more than 150 years that the rich and the powerful often corrupt individual officials or exert undue influence to get legislation passed that favors their interests, most Americans still cling to the naive belief that such corruption is exceptional, and that most of the institutions of society, the courts, the press, and law enforcement agencies still largely comply with the Constitution and the law in important matters. They expect that these corrupting forces are disunited and in competition with one another so that they tend to balance one another. However, mounting evidence make it clear that the situation is far worse than most people think, that during the last several decades, the Constitution for the United States of America has been effectively overthrown, and that it is now observed only as a facade to deceive and placate the masses. What has replaced it is what many call the shadow government. There you go again. 13th, 14th, 15th Amendment. That's not government. It's the shadow of the government. Created with the illegal passing of the Act of 1871. It still, for the most part, operates in secret, and that is the secret because we don't know about it. They played the verbiage game on us. See, they can come into their little meetings and decide what it is that they can do to corrupt the masses dealing with law. Because we believe and we're so passive to absorb whatever they want to give us. If the great white father said so, then we'll say, well, they said this. They say we got to take it. They say we got to turn. They say we got to turn the lights out. They say we can't get the water except the they. So who's the they? It's the shadow government. So, continuing, then I'm stopping. It's still, for the most part, I'm sorry. Then it says the exposure of this regime and this operation must now become primary duty of citizens who still believe in the rule of law, because that's where we are. We want the rule of law. Check out what the rule of law is. And in the freedoms and independence which the U period, S period, A period is supposed to represent. Now I'm going to put that down and just bring this home with this, so it won't be no confusion. No, one more thing. Got to go back to the prophet's teachings again. This is his plea to the nation. So we can see how all this ties in, connecting the dots. Plea to the nation, it ties into this. In part, it is the great God Allah alone that guides the destiny of this divine and national movement. I know all true American citizens are identified by national descent names to answer. So a prophet is letting us know if you don't have a national descent name, you can't answer to nothing. And he also makes reference to the word apply. So when you have your national descent name, you can answer and apply to what? The free national constitution. The free national constitution of this. Now remember, in the preamble of the United States, it says that this union, this more perfect union, is to provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessing of the liberty to ourselves and prosper, do ordain, and establish what? This Constitution for the United States of America, right? So our prophet is saying, in his plea, he said, I know all true American citizens are identified by national descent names to answer and apply to the free national constitution, which is your organic constitution, which is those first 7 articles of this. He's letting you know that those first 7 articles, your organic constitution, is what? The free national republic of the United States of America. That's where he's going. So now to put closure to this topic, Lincoln's philosophy, common sense, to let us know that we are the government. Always have been and always will be. Why? Because this union is perpetual. Let's see what it says. The union. They never told us about the union. They made us think it was just 2 political entities between the North and the South. They didn't know that union was all about us. It says the union is much older than the Constitution. Isn't that something? Much older. Where are you going to learn that from? They show you the Northerners and the Southerners fighting the Union and the Confederacy. Never letting you know that the Union, which is us, is much older than the Constitution. Then they're going to tell you how it's being formed, so let's get there. It says, it was formed, in fact, by the Articles of Association in 1774, and didn't our prophet tell you that since we was freed, ever since the free national constitution of 1774, that's where he's going. And it was matured and continued in the Declaration of Independence in 1776. And it was further matured and the faith of all the then 13 states expressly plighted and engaged that it should be perpetual. Do you know our Articles of Incorporation is perpetual, people? Tying you back to what I'm just reading, that the government has, that our members who have businesses and they want to get their business tied into your free national government under these articles that we have, that Grand Chick Richardson Dingle signed off as Prophet Noble Drew III, and it's about your free national constitution, your freedom, and the things that you can do to sustain you under this law of freedom. FBI have it, the government have it, Homeland Security have it, the Texas Law Center down there who's getting on all these Moors, they got our articles. Once we got with them and showed them our authority, they left us the hell alone. Pardon the expression. They talk about everybody else, but they don't talk about us. They got everybody else on the spotlight. They don't have us. But we made sure that they knew who's real and who's false. So let me continue. I'm just giving y'all some bullet points. I'm letting you know what I know. I ain't talking about what I think, feel, believe. I'm telling you what I know. So then it says, it was further matured, and the faith of all then the 13 states, which all these 13 states had their sovereignty. They were independent countries. These 13 states expressly plighted and engaged that it should be perpetual by the Articles of Confederation in 1778 and finally in 1787. So we know at the Continental Convention of 1787 with the 35 Moors white men and 20 Anglo-Saxon white men, we brought them into our house and made them a part of this government. That's when it became a more perfect union, when we brought them in. But they ain't going to let you know that we are this government. That's why you got the 2 seals on a $1 bill, because we was first. There's 2 jurisdictions here. We the creditors and they the debtors. But we don't know. And everything is encrusted in 13, people. Oh, yeah, let me continue. And finally, in 1787, one of the declared objects for ordaining and establishing the Constitution was to form a more perfect union. But if the destruction of the union by one or by a part only of the states be lawfully possible, the union is less than before, the Constitution having lost the vital element of perpetuity. Then I'm going to read this other little bit, then I'm going to stop with this one. Looking at the time. It says that Lincoln challenges Justice Taney's historical facts when he said, I've said in substance that the Dred Scott decision was in part based on assumed historical facts which were not really true. See, there's no Negroes nowhere. Allah didn't born Negroes. The slaveholder created the Negro. That's why the year 1900 they said the Negro created. So who created the Negro? Created with articulate speech and hands to do what? Better serve his master, the white man. The Negro was a creation of the slaveholder. They got us in it. It's going to take them to get us out. Because this is their salvation too. Because now everybody's niggas in the system. Corporately. We are corporate slaves up under the de facto government, the shadow government. Let me continue. So he says, and I ought not have the subject without giving some reason for saying this. I therefore give an instance or two, which I think fully sustains me. Chief Justice Taney, in delivering the majority opinion of the court, insists at great length that Negroes were no part of the people who made or for whom was made the Declaration of Independence or the Constitution of the United States. On the contrary, Justice Curtis, in his dissenting opinions, shows that in 5 of the 13 states to which, now we ain't talking about Negroes now. Negroes didn't have nothing to do with the Constitution, but the Moors did. Let me continue. It said, in 5 of the 13 states to which New Hampshire Massachusetts, New York, New Jersey, North Carolina, free Moors were voters, and in proportion to their numbers had the same part in making the Constitution that the white people had. He shows this with so much particularity as to leave no doubt of this truth, and as a sort of conclusion on the point, holds the following language. The Constitution was ordained and established by the people of the United States through the actions in each state of those persons who were qualified by the laws to act thereon in behalf of themselves and all other citizens of the state. And in some of the states we have seen Moorish persons were among those qualified by law to act on the subject. These Moorish persons were not only included in the body of the people of the United States by whom the Constitution was ordained and established, but at least 5 of the states they had the power to act, and doubtless did act by their suffrages upon the question of its adoption. How come they don't teach that? What's going on? What's going on? Wake up, everybody, so we can see what's going on. All right. That's my conclusion dealing with that particular question. All right, Mo, I'm looking at the time.
All right, National Grand. Our first question reads, why don't you hear anyone else speak on this policy of freedom? Not congressmen, women, senators, other officials, etc. Islam?
Islam. Oh, thank you. Well, once again, I'm going to acknowledge and applaud my noble brothers and sisters who laying this question down and satisfying the answers to everyone. I know if you all have taken notes, and you need to record some of these calls, period. Because what we demonstrate, you're not going to pick up on this nowhere else, really. And I'm not talking down against anyone or no other Moorish entity. But we are charged to do what we do for our people. We are charged to do it. And all that correlates with the prophet's teachings. There's only but one issue to be recognized, and it only comes through the connection. So if you're not connected to the Moorish divine and national movement, what are you doing? So we bring them both together, divine and national. Everybody else is just divine. That's why I think in such a disarray as we speak. So let me get to this question. You know, now the reason you don't hear the majority of the people speak on this subject is because most of us don't know. And we need to ask ourselves. Whoever posed the question, being that he's throwing it out there in the ethers, ask yourself. Why don't we know about it? Ask yourself that. Why don't we know about this policy of freedom? You can't answer it, not really. That's why we have the Moorish School of Law and History. We represent the law and the history of our people because we was first in everything. Remember, out of one there's many, and out of many there's one. We the one where all the many came from. That's dealing with everything on the planet because we was first. We the ancient people where it all begun. It began with us. So continuing. And you have those that know and those that have an inkling about it, but they are sworn not to mention it. And it's not being taught in the educational facilities, and that's by design, as was stated by the noble brothers and sisters earlier. Why is this man going to teach you about this? That would destroy his whole foundation. He's been lying so much. But see, he's now being exposed. See, when the prophet came and redeemed us, he broke their seal of thought and everything else. He bust through the door. He gave us the key, the 7 keys. That's the key we on. Open all the doors to reveal the truth because the truth is you. So now, people, can you imagine if this policy was taught? They, I mean the government, would be exposed. And see, now we fight each other. So much confusion and division in the Moorish paradigm. Prophet didn't bring this, prophet didn't bring that. You don't know what the prophet brought. Stop studying man and study the Lord, and you'll be all right. Rome know what we got. When the feds came to meet with us, they put us on the top shelf and started talking about all these other Moors and what they going to do to them. When they asked about our jurisdiction, I said, what did the charter say on the wall? They just look and put their head down. It's self-sustaining. We got all of North America, people. Yes, we do. We've been home all the time. All this land is the land of Moab, y'all. Moses died here. The laws was given here. Why do you think the Liberty Bell is where it is? It's never to be moved. It's a landmark. That's why that code is on the belt. The Hebrew code is on the belt for the Hebrew people, which is us. That's why we're Hebrew Muslims up Moorish descent. All of our ancestors were Muslims. They wasn't no Christians. Christianity didn't come on the scene about 300 to 400 years after Jesus' death. The Nazarene is the Jesus that we talking about. His nationality, he's a Canaanite Moabite. So we in the family, so what is the problem? Was Jesus not Hebrew? Our prophet said, who was the first person Jesus reincarnated into? Prophet Muhammad the Conqueror. So if there's the first, got to be a second, etc. Moses don't want that. See, they've been listening to somebody, flipping their minds. Because they're not studying the law, they studying man. That's why there's so much confusion. They about the money, as the feds told us that. They say, Brad, babe, what we researched and found about your movement, it's a power struggle about making money. And that's just what it is. Just what it is. So anyway, and see, the reason why, if they taught this, they would be exposed, because as was stated, they would lose the resources, the finance. And see, we got to remember, this is a corporation. They're all about the money. Well, all the states are corporate. And we are what is called corporate slaves. For real. That's what we are. Corporate slaves. Now, we have on our website a template that you can use at your disposal. Verbiage is already there pertaining to the proclamation, sending to your representatives who allegedly supposed to represent you, allegedly, but they part of the corruption. All you need to do, get the representative's name, you sign your name and send it to that office. I've said this on so many occasions, but the most, they're not there. They don't see the significance of what this is. We still sleep. We don't believe in it. Can you imagine if all the Moors would just flood the congressional body with the statement, we want you to enforce the Emancipation Proclamation in the 13 Amendment 20 sections? If this would flood their offices, but now a whole lot of them are locked up that you don't know nothing about. You don't hear too much about them no more, do you? You'd be surprised, people. A lot of them in jail because of the treason and corruption. But I'm saying we have a means, ways and means to saturate the government with our plea, our right to be heard. But you don't want to do that. No. And see, what is so substantial about the process in itself is because, see, it's up to us to get them to perform their jobs. That's why the process, we have to enforce the law to save the nation. So what law is he talking about? He's already eliminated the 14th and 15th, so the science of it is we got to get them to enforce the 13th Amendment with 20 sections. 13th article with 20 sections. That sustain us and facilitate our nationality and birthright and our freedom. Do you want to be free or not? You're tired of this man yoke, but you don't want to do nothing about it when you are given the process to get yourselves free. You don't want it though, for whatever reason. And so many of us are afraid of this man. That's what it is. We're afraid. You at your workplace, the man say this, the man say that. You have every right to ask the question, what is your enabling law for you to even bring that to me? Just because you say you are who you say you are? But see, we're not going to talk to the great white father or woman that way, because we are afraid. We still have that fear in us. It's still in our DNA. So, see, the same thing applies to attorneys. See, they've taken over to the other side, which is the corporate side, so they can't bring this policy into existence, because if they did, they'd be sanctioned or disbarred. I've spoken to countless attorneys, judges too, in private, about all of this. They love the prophet. They know we right. Oh, Brad Bay, you right, but I just can't do this. They would disbar me, but they know you're right. But see, they didn't took that over to the crown, and that's why it's on us. Nothing is going to change until we make them change. That's where it is. So that's why, people, we have to do what we have to do to enforce this policy. We got to do it. Our prophet has already mandated we must enforce the law to save the nation. So what are we going to do? It's on us. So it's about 10 o'clock, so I'm going to stop. I don't want to belabor people, and if people tired, got to get up, go to work tomorrow. I'm blessed to be retired, but I'm working 24/7/7/7/7 since I've been retired. I don't even know what it means to get a real good night's sleep, because this policy and the people, the duties of the organization, all this is on me. But I'm not fretting, because Allah got me. And Allah got you too. That's why we all here. We've done it in the past, in previous lives. So now we're back to complete it again. Like the prophet said, once we get out of this, son, we'll never get in it again. And it's already been written, people, the first shall be last and the last shall be first. Was not we first and then we became last? But with the coming of the prophet, he bring us back to the top. Praise the Lord. You got a God who loves you. You know your God. He sent us our prophet. Well, I'm done. I'm putting the prayer behind my conversation tonight. Thanking everybody for their demonstration. Love my brothers and sisters, and we all are one. Keep bringing your spoke to the wheel, because we're going to roll this bad boy. Islam, Islam, Islam. Thank you much.
Islam. And thank you for summarizing our call and giving us the jewels, as you always do, the National Grand Sheik of the Moorish Science Temple, the Divine and National Movement of North America Incorporated, number 13, the Moorish American National Republic, is none other than Joel Bratton Bay. Appreciate you much, National Grand, for all you have done, will do, and haven't done yet. Love you much, National Grand.
Likewise, Mo, be safe in your family. Give my love, Mo. Yes, indeed. Get a hug, a smile, and a kiss for me now.
Islam, National Grand, will do.
Thank you, Mo.
Well, my good people, we have a total of 44 lines on the call, but at this time, we'll begin to close out as we open. But you can catch us here next week's creation, next Sunday's creation, same time, same space. But at this time, we're going to close the same way we open. Can I please have everyone who is able to stand erect, facing towards the east, heels together, toes apart, separated at a 45-degree angle, upper arms parallel to the floor, forearms perpendicular, 5 fingers erect and together on the left, and 2 fingers erect and together on the right. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation, by night and by day, through his holy prophet, Drew Ali. Ameen. Trusting everyone has a safe rest of the week. Until next Sunday's creation, keep safe, stay sane. Much love and peace, peace, peace.